welcome to the second part on how to paint a Dark Eldar Witch from the Cult of Strife. Now to continue with the painting on this miniature, I'm going to use Ironbreaker. In this I'm going to dry brush all over the metal areas. Again, dry brushing is a very easy step actually, if you know how to apply it, if you get used to the consistency. You just wipe off most of the paint out of your brush, actually almost all of it, and just start brushing over the areas. This will give a little highlight. I will get all of the edges and pop it up a little bit. Now I'm going to use a Sermon Blue, or I think it's Drakenhoff Nightshade for the new range. I'm going to use a fine brush just to define the eyes of the miniature. Just lay some of the wash on top of the eyes and let it set, and this will give the eyes a little pop so that you can paint it on another step. Now I'm going to use Palid Witch Flesh. This thin down a little bit with glazed medium or just water if you like, and I'm going to start painting all of the flesh areas. Just highlight, leaving all of the recesses on the previous color. And yeah, I'm actually not doing a great job because it's a bit difficult to paint these areas when I'm behind a camera. It's much more easier if I'm doing it just by myself. But I hope you get the idea. It's not really hard. I'm using a detail brush, and I actually do two coats of the paint. One that it's really rough, and the second one is a little bit more watered down, just to get a little bit of transition with glazed medium. Now the miniature, this is how it looks after that step. What I'm going to do next is to paint the eyes. Actually, this is a quite challenging part for me because I'm behind of a camera. With my previous witches I didn't have as much trouble painting the eyes, but you just use the finest brush that you can find. This is a 000 brush, and trying to fill in the eyes. They're actually already like laid out because of the wash, but this miniature has the hair just blocking my way in, so I have to use the tip of the brush, and it's a little bit hard. I hope you can get the idea. Sometimes you can just leave it like that, it's totally fine. For tabletop standard, no one's gonna get that close to the miniature and see it. So what I'm trying to do is to just color the eyes on white, and you can clean it up afterwards with black or dark blue to take it back and leave it on the eyeballs. Now I'm going to highlight the hair with Wazdaka red, and this is a simple step. Just paint over the areas that are most exposed, and individual hair strands you can just paint them with a fine brush. You may notice that I didn't paint the eyes, the pupil, but I've done it for other of my models, and it's not that hard, but I'm just gonna leave it like this because I think it gives it a little bit crazier look, and I actually like how it looks like that. But if you want to do it, you can try it with the same brush, the same technique. Just stroking the brush up and down into the eye, and just be careful. Maybe having a magnifying glass could help you with that task. Now the second highlight for the hair, in a little less area than the first one, but in the same areas, is going to be Wild Rider red. And I'm just using a fine brush just to get on these areas. It's not really a hard step to do. It takes a little bit of patience. Next, I'm going to use Ushabti bone, and I'm going to highlight the bone on the top of her head. It's a very easy step. Actually, this tutorial, I feel it's a collection of very easy steps. It's just a lot of steps for some reason. It has tons of detail, and I don't think I covered all of the details anyway, but this is the most that I could. Next is Screaming Skull for the bone. And then I'm going to use Moot Green to highlight the combat drugs, as you can see. Next up, I'm going to use White Scar again. This time I'm going to try to make a vertical line on the flasks, just to give it an indication of reflection, like if it was actually glass. Just highlight the edge, the lower edge horizontally, and just try to make some vertical lines, so just to try to emulate the reflection of glass. What I'm doing now is I'm using Cadian flesh tone to start highlighting the flesh parts, the flayed skin parts. And then I'm going to use Kyslev flesh to highlight an area a little bit less than the last highlight. The last highlight was most of the area, just leaving the deepest recesses on the Devil in Mud. And now the final highlight, I'm going to use Screaming Skull to just paint the very edges and the parts that you would like to accentuate of the flayed skin. Then I'm turning off the lights so that maybe you can see what I'm doing now. I'm using Skaven Blight Dinch to color in parts where my overhead light bulb is hitting, trying to highlight the black parts. So maybe you can see that wherever I pick a position on the model, and wherever I see a highlight, an actual reflection of light on the miniature, I paint with Skaven Black Dinch, and then I accentuate this highlight with Dawnstone, just taking a little bit less of area, but wherever you can see that the reflection is very obvious, you may want to use a little bit more of a paint. Now, as the last step, I'm going to use Vallejo liquid gold copper. I'm going to paint this part of the gun. You can use this color to color maybe a shoulder pad. Usually they have some random parts of the armor in the same color. Then I'm going to highlight the leather from the pouches with Skrag brown, and then Valor brown, and just on the edges. And that's pretty much it. Here's the finished model. I hope you can appreciate the model well. I'm actually very happy with this. I have 6 witches painted so far, and I think they look just amazing when you have them together. They actually look very good. I don't know if they perform too well. I'm going to start researching how they play on the battlefield. I understand they're kind of weak and unforgiving on the game. Please, if you have any information, just leave it in a comment below. Tell me what you think of this miniature. Here are some of the still pictures. I really hope you liked this painting tutorial, and yeah, I'm looking forward to making more. Please leave a comment if you would like to see something painted, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. See you later.